Hey everyone. Okay, so I finally am posting my Victober, October TBR. For those of you who have been waiting for this for a few days, I'm sorry. I had some fun, unexpected things happen, which is that my brother came home for a long weekend. He came home for a wedding with his girlfriend, or to attend a wedding with his girlfriend, and it was a surprise, so that was so much fun to get to see him for the whole weekend. But because of that, no reading or video making was achieved, so apologies for that. Anyway, I am so excited. I'm going to talk about all of my October reads in this video, if I can fit them all in. And I've decided, like, my list is the order in which I'm going to read them, so I'm going to talk about them that way, and then just intersperse the Victober stuff. But just for starters, I will say that for those of you who don't know what Victober is, it is a month-long themed readathon created by Katie from Books and Things, where you try to read Victorian literature in the month of October, and some people like to read like only Victorian literature in October. Like, I know that's what Katie's doing, and I think Kate as well, Kate Howe, and a couple of other people. I like to intersperse some like more modern day mysteries and stuff, and I also have some other things that are not at all October related, but just time sensitive things that I want to read. So I won't be kind of a full participant, but I am going to read enough to complete all the challenges, which kind of makes me a full participant, so that's cool. But anyway, this year it's being hosted by, of course, Katie from Books and Things, and then Kate Howe, Ange from Beyond the Pages, and Lucy from Lucy the Reader. And now I'll go ahead and dive into all the things I will be reading. First is Can You Forgive Her by Anthony Trollope. I was supposed to finish this in September, and it just didn't happen. I am about a fourth of the way through, and I'm hoping to... Sorry, my bathing suit keeps falling down. I'm going to go sit out after this. But anyway, I'm going to try to finish this in the next, like, 3 days, because I have, like, 21 hours of audio left. So I'm thinking if I listen to, like, 7 hours a day, that'll be good, but I don't know if I'll be able to get that much listening in, so hopefully, we'll see. So I want to finish that. That's the first book in the Palliser series, and it is luckily Victorian, but I'm not actually counting it for any of the challenges. And then next is 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield. Again, this is one I was supposed to finish in September, and just time got away from me. I did do pretty well in this, though. This was part of a read-along that Katie from Books and Things was doing, because this is her favorite modern novel. And I got 149 pages into it, and I am completely loving this. It is amazing, and I'm pretty sure it's going to get a 5 stars from me when I'm done, but I'm so excited to finish this. I'm going to, like, marathon read this as soon as I finish marathon reading Can You Forgive Her? And then most of the rest of these, I'm sorry I don't have them to show you, because they are all at my house, pretty much, so I'm sorry about that. I do have one small thing from the library to show you, but this is also not a priority read. But anyway, so I really want to read an hour a day of Little Dorrit by Charles Dickens, to try to read that this month. Although, since I don't have the physical book with me, I'm going back home tomorrow and I'll pick it up, so I might actually start tomorrow instead of today, because I do have access to the audio today. But anyway, so one of the challenges for Victober, Ange's challenge, is to read a book by one of the host's favorite Victorian authors. And I decided to go all out with this and try to read one from each of the favorite authors. So Katie's favorite is, of course, Charles Dickens. And so I picked Little Dorrit for this because I've wanted to read this for years. I completely adore the miniseries. It is in my top 5 favorite miniseries of all time. So yeah, I'm so excited to read this. So I'm hoping to listen to an hour a day of that. I'll be listening to the audio narrated by Simon Vance. And next is Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. I started this in July, and I got about a third of the way through, and I was loving it. And I really want to finish because it's part of the Great American Read series, and that ends this month. Like, the TV show and the voting and everything ends this month. So even though I won't be able to finish the book before the voting ends and before the last episode of the show, I think finishing it this month would be great. And I was also just really enjoying it, so I would love to finish that. So I'm going to try to read an hour of that every day. And then I didn't get to finish all of my Poldark reading in September, so I really wanted to be able to finish reading the books and finish rewatching the other seasons before I start season 4. So even though season 4 started yesterday, I'm just going to DVR the episodes until I finish the project. So the ones I need to finish there are Warlegan, Black Moon, Four Swans, and Angry Tide, and I have all of them, either the physical formats that I own or the audios from either the library or Audible. And then next, I really want to read Lord of the Rings this month because, again, it's on the Great American Reads list, and I have been trying to finish Lord of the Rings for like 2 or 3 years now. I've read The Hobbit now 3 times, and I've read Fellowship of the Ring now twice, and I still have not had a chance to read Two Towers and Return of the King yet, and I don't know what keeps making me stop after Fellowship. No clue. So I'm hoping to start over with Fellowship and reread that, and then read Two Towers and Return of the King for the first time, all back to back this month, hopefully. Next is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson, and this is going to be for Kate's challenge. Kate Howe's challenge is to read a book with a proper noun in the title. I think actually like maybe 6 of the 8 or 9 things that I'm reading, or 10 things, I have lost count at this point, are proper nouns, but I just decided to specifically count this one. And then I'm so excited for this because this is going to be narrated. The audio is narrated by Richard Armitage, so I'm so excited to listen to that. And then also I'm having a Richard Armitage Fright Fest in October where I'm listening to that. And then I'm also listening to Bloody Chamber by Angela Carter, which is co-narrated by Richard Armitage and Amelia Fox. And then I'm also going to try to listen to Their Lost Daughters by Joy Ellis, which is narrated by Richard Armitage, and it is part of this new mystery crime series that he's narrating, and I think there's actually either a second one already out, or like I think maybe a third one's coming out. I don't know. There's like one coming out every month, but I just have the first one. And then I want to read Moorland Cottage by Elizabeth Gaskell. This is again going back to Ange's challenge, but this time it's for Kate's favorite Victorian author. Her favorite is Elizabeth Gaskell. And the fun thing for me is that Elizabeth Gaskell is my favorite female Victorian writer. So it's cool because I get to kind of fulfill Kate's branch of Ange's challenge, but also fulfill my own favorite as well, so that'll be fun. And I've tried to read this, I've gotten halfway through this like twice, so I really need to start over and finally finish it. Next is The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins. I'm so excited to read this, and this I will be reading for the general overall challenge, which is to read a book that then has a film adaptation. And so I'll be watching the recent miniseries and also the 90s film with Keeley Hawes and Greg Wise. And next is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte and Agnes Grey by Anne Bronte. Jane Eyre will be a reread for me, and then Agnes Grey I'll be reading for the first time. These I'm counting for 2 different challenges, actually. Katie's challenge is read a book from the first decade or the last decade of the Victorian period. The first decade is 1837 to 1847, and both these books were published in 1847 alongside Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. And then Lucy's challenge, Lucy the Reader's challenge, is read a book that the author chose to write or had to write under a pseudonym. And all the Bronte sisters used male pseudonyms. They were Ellis, Acton, and Kerr Bell. So for these two, it would be one by Kerr and one by Acton Bell. And I'm so excited for those audios because I have Jane Eyre. I'm going to be listening to Tandy Newton's audio. And then for Agnes Grey, I'll be listening to Amelia Fox's audio. Or narrations, I guess. Next is Two on a Tower by Thomas Hardy. This one is, I'm reading for, again, Ange's challenge, and Ange's favorite author is Thomas Hardy, or favorite Victorian author is Thomas Hardy. And for that one, I have the audio by Michael Kitchen, so I'm very excited for that. And then next is Phineas Finn by Anthony Trollope. Katie and I haven't quite decided if we're reading this in October. We hope to, but this is the second book in the Palliser series, and for me this will be fun because reading this and Can You Forgive Her, I will be reading my favorite male Victorian author, who is Anthony Trollope. And then 19 is Dickens' Ghost Stories. These are if I get to them, great. If I don't, that's okay, because I'm already reading Little Dorrit. Next is Their Lost Daughters and Bloody Chamber, which I already mentioned. And then I have We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. This is going to be terrifying, so that's why I'm reading it in October. And then I have, I really want to finish Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. And then last but not least is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I have the audio narrated by Dan Stevens, and I am so excited about it. So those are all of my reads. A lot of Victorian stuff, a lot of not Victorian stuff. Very excited for all of it. So please let me know if you are participating in Victober. Let me know what some of your other spooky October reads are going to be. And I will link all the channels down below. And thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys later.